Welcome to DWBI Adda channel. Please subscribe for latest training videos.
Hello and welcome to the session on multiple linear regression using Python. Let's try to understand what is a multiple linear regression. Unlike simple linear regression, multiple linear regression is the one which takes more than one independent variables, and based on these independent variables, I would like to predict the value of one dependent variable. Let's try to understand in detail about this with a case study. Here I have a problem statement which says I have the housing sales data of a county which is King County in United States, and based on this data I would like to make a model that would predict the price of a property based on some factors like the area, the number of bedrooms, parking, etc. of the dataset. Now, here basically I have three problem statements. I can break the problem statements into three parts. The first is to identify the variables which are actually impacting the house price. Second is to develop a linear model that actually predicts the prices of the house. And the third is to make sure that I have a very accurate model. So let's try to dig deep into that. Before developing any model, it's always important to make sure that we have a good understanding of the data. This holds good for all the models that we build, not only for linear regression. Any kind of prediction model, we need to have a very good understanding of the data. So let's do that first. Let's go through the data once, then we can look into the code. This is the data set which I have, and here I have the column B, which is the price. Now this is going to be my dependent variable and all others are going to be my independent variable. Remember, this is a multiple linear regression, so I have more than one independent variables. Alright, so now let's come back to the basic of a linear regression. We know that in a linear regression, we try to fit a straight line through the data points which we already have so that it is the best fit. In other words, the line should be such that we have minimal errors in it, and that is considered to be my prediction line. And equation we defined it as y equal to b0 plus b1 into x. But here we have multiple independent variables, so we will have multiple x's. So the equation that we are going to define here will be y equal to intercept plus b1 x1, b2 x2, b3 x3 and so on, where b1, b2, b3 are the individual coefficient for each variables. Now this value of intercept and the b1, b2, b3s is what we are trying to predict in our linear regression. Let's try to do that, and before we do that, let's try to understand the data. So as I said, b is my dependent variable. Let's look at the independent variables. Square feet area, it's self-explanatory, it's the area of the house. These tells me about the number of bathrooms and bedrooms in the house and which story and how many stories are there in the particular given house. Now the next data is about the geographical location, where I have if the house is present in the main road, and the zip code and the latitude and the longitude of the given house. The next three attributes are more about the house that we have, if it has a guest room or not, if it has a waterfront or not, or if it has a basement or not. So we have all the yes no's for this. The next one is about the amenities that we have, which will be if it has an air conditioning, if it has a parking, and if it is in the preference area. And the last one is about the furnishing status. We have three statuses. One is furnished, semi-furnished and unfurnished. Alright, so now I think we have a good understanding of the data on a high level. But this might not be enough. I might need to look more detail into the data and how the data behaves. To do that, we do something which is called EDA, or an exploratory data analysis. Let's try to do that right now. So let's follow the simple steps to do that. The first step that I would be doing is to import and understand the data. So I import all the necessary packages. The pandas and numpys are for the computations and the data frames. The stats model, sklearn are for the machine learning, and these two, matlob and the matplotlib and the seaborn, are for the plottings. So I'm good with that. I do a housing and the pd.read csv. This saves the data in my in a data frame which is called the housing. And to be in the safer side, as a standard practice, we always save the raw data in a data frame before making any changes. So housing underscore master is my raw data frame, and I save it in that, and I would be making all kind of modifications to the housing data frame. Now let's do an EDA, which is exploratory data analysis. As a first step, I would do a housing.head to look at the first 10 records of the dataset. I see it has nicely captured all the attributes, and I see the values are also nicely captured. The ones which are yes, no's are captured properly, and the ones which are furnishing status and other values and the decimals are captured properly. I'm good with this. Let's do a housing.info. This gives me the generic information of all the attributes, what is the data type it has captured, and the number of entries we have, and also the number of columns we have. This looks good to me. I do a housing.describe. This gives me the statistical calculation of the continuous variables in my given data frame, which is price, square feet, bedrooms, bathrooms, storage, and all. And I see a nice count of the data, the mean, standard deviation, the percentiles, and I see the min and max out of it. All right, so I'm good till now. I do a housing.shape in the next step. That will give me the number of rows and columns, 545 and 18. This is captured. This has been captured nicely. Okay. In the next step, I would like to do an EDA of the continuous variables first. To do that, I define a method or a function which draws a subplot, which draws a distribution plot in the subplot 1. It is a histogram chart, and it also draws a box plot in the subplot 2, and that will give me an idea about the spread of the data. Right, so let's try to pass each of the continuous variable one by one and try to understand how this data behaves. First one that I pass is the square feet area, just to understand what is the spread of the area and how it goes. I see most of the data is in between, let's say 2000 to 5000, I guess it's somewhere in between. So that is where the most of the data lies, and slowly it decreases. This could be probably the the 10,000 range, and I see a very few data after 10,000. The box plot gives me the spread of the data. I see the most of the data is in between 4000 to 6000. The first point here is the 25th percentile. The topmost point of the box is the 75th percentile, and the extreme topmost point is the 100th percentile, and this would obviously be the 0 percentile. So I can see the 25th to 75th percentile is in between 4000 to 6000, which has almost the 50% of the data. I move to the next one, the number of bedrooms. Although it can be considered as a continuous, it can be considered as a categorical sometimes, but I have considered it as a continuous as of now. So most of the data has 3-bedroom flats. That's where I have the most of the data. I do have a few data on 2 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms, but anything more than 4, it's very few. I see here the box plot also says accordingly, the most of the data lies between 3. I do a similar chart for the number of bathrooms. Here I see most of the bathrooms are 1, and the number of bathrooms is 2 also, and anything more than 2 is less. So I have most of the data in between 2 bathrooms. Let's see how many storage flats I have. Here we see I have the equal number of storage for 1 and 2. Anything more than 1, it's almost a similar behavior. Number 3 storage and 4 storage are almost same, but it is lesser in number. I go to the next one, which is nothing but the parking. I try to draw a histogram chart. So the flats without a parking are the most in my data set, and the ones with 1 and 2 are the ones which are also there but not not much. I do a box plot that gives me the outliers. I have very few data on 2 parkings, but most of them are in between 1. So this is one of the way to do a EDA on continuous variable. I'm not saying this is the only way. There are n number of ways. It all depends on the type of data that you're working on, and it all depends on the kind of problem statement that you're working on. So based on that, you can have your own functions, you can have your own ways to show how the data behaves, and that gives you a very brief idea about the behavior of the data before you start the model. Let's do an EDA on the categorical variable. So I have chosen a bar plot for this. Again, as I said, there are n number of ways to do it. One can choose the plots of his or her own choice. I do a bar plot of the main road. I have 2 values, yes and no. So most of the data is a yes for a main road, so which is close to the main road. I have very few data which is not in the main road. And most of the data has a no for the guest room, so there are no guest rooms for most of the data, whereas data with yes for guest room is very less. It is approximately 100, which is 1/4 of it. I can see there is almost an equal distribution of semi-furnished, unfurnished, and furnished. There is not much difference between the number of data I have, so this could be a good data for my prediction. I did counts for the furnishing status. Oh, this is repeated. I move to the next one. The amenities are the air conditioning. I did a bar plot for that. This also gives me a distribution of no higher than the yes. The next value will be the waterfront. Here I see an interesting observation. There is very few data for the waterfront, and there are very high waterfront is equal to y, and the high number of data for n. This might tell me that this could be not a very good attribute to have a prediction on, but we can see later on. But upfront, I have a notion that this might not be a very good attribute which I can use for my prediction. So this was about the EDA that we normally do before doing a machine learning model. There are n number of ways to do it. It all depends on how you choose to do it. This should ultimately give you a good idea about the data beforehand. Thank you.